just happy to have you all here this evening. Art Speaks was born out of my coming to, I guess, embrace my own creativity and to finally embrace myself as an artist, because that was something very difficult for me to do, to call myself an artist. I've always been writing and everything, but never shared my work or never shared my words with anybody. It was just something I did. It was how I expressed myself, to try to make sense of the world and myself. So when I started to come out into the community and seek out other poets, I found that they were all, you know, cliquish, meeting in different places on different days at different times. And I just thought it would be a wonderful idea to have just all these different voices under one roof for a celebration of poetry. And I see David Moss there, and some other folks from the Civic Media Center. Is really who really embraced me when I came. I'm from Alachua, but I didn't really know the poetry scene. I would attend open mics at the Civic Media Center, which has the longest running open mic in Gainesville. I think it's like 25 years or something like that. They've been doing Thursday night poetry jam. So the folks at Civic Media Center, David in particular, and Jimmy Smith and everybody, they really embraced me and put me in touch with other poets. And that's how the very first Art Speaks was born. And we've been doing it ever since. We have 2 events a year. This is our adult event. It's normally in the fall. We try to schedule it right around August, late August, or September, whenever the students get back, and when football doesn't just take over everybody's, you know, consciousness. So it's normally at the beginning of August and the end of August, beginning of September. And our teen event is normally in the spring, the first part of March. We are, ARTSPEAKS has partnered with Urban Word, New York City, and the National Youth Poet Laureate Program to form the North Central Florida, Alachua County Youth Poet Laureate Program, which we're going to introduce this fall. And hopefully we'll have a commencement in April and have our very first Youth Poet Laureate, Alachua County Youth Poet Laureate, and North Central Florida Youth Poet Laureate. And North Central Florida is because I wanted to make sure that we gave all the young people who may not live, this area is very rural, so there are a lot of young people who may not live in Alachua or Marion County, who may live in Gilchrist or Levy or Lafayette. So there are like 10 counties, these small municipalities, that form the North Central Florida Youth Poet Laureate Program. If you're wondering about that, our very first Youth Poet Laureate was Amanda Gorman, who many of you saw at the presidential inauguration. She was the very first National Youth Poet Laureate. So we're going to give our teams, our young people, an opportunity to compete on that national platform and regional platform for that particular honor. And it will be having information. We've partnered with the Alachua County Library, also district also. And hopefully through them we'll get other county library districts on board. So once again, thank you. And also, this is not free. And I had to learn to ask for funds, for money. I'm not really good at that. I'm about to go broke, because this comes out of my pocket to do all this. And then my wife is telling me, you know, you gotta find some money from somewhere. I can't keep giving you my money for these art programs. Just kidding. She's an art promoter herself. I wouldn't be here if not for her telling me that I was an artist and encouraging me to call myself an artist. So thank you, Carol, for all you do. So with that, ARTSPEAKS is just a platform for expression through the art of poetry, spoken word, and storytelling. I'm gonna just introduce the program and get out of your way. We're gonna. If you have a program, who needs a program? I don't need all these. You can give them to other people too. And we're gonna just go by the program. The names of the program are in that order. And someone's not here, we just skip them, and that way it'll probably run really smoothly without introducing everybody. So, I see a couple of new faces. I've been introducing ARTSPEAKS this way for 9 years. So with that said, once I do the introduction, the next voice you'll hear is that of Miss Brittany. So with that, I will do what came to be, I guess, my traditional welcoming poem. It doesn't have a name. This is for the ones who sit tribal and knowing. This is for the ones who stand at the back door of the empire, clawing pencil and paper. This is for the ones suspended from rooftops, writing and quoting prophetic doomsday poetry. This is for the ones who kneel down on blacktop, asphalt, highways, writing long rows of words with white lime rock until their knees bleed, their fingers cramp and blister, and the earth buckles from so much expression. This is for the ones who believe that one day, when kingdom comes, it will be at once the same time everywhere, all over the world. And this is for the ones who bear witness. This is for all of you. Welcome to another amazing ARTSPEAKS. Enjoy.
On behalf of our interim director, Roxy Gonzalez, and the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Department, I welcome you, most of you again, to our historic Thomas Center. It's always great to have such talent filling the room up and to have these events, which are really a celebration of the creativity of our community. I would invite you, when you get an opportunity, if you get an opportunity, to visit our gallery exhibition, Between Heaven and Earth, the paintings of Aileen Harris. Ms. Harris is a legendary local artist and a cultural treasure for our community. These 200 paintings you see on display are part of the city's permanent art collection, which we were fortunate enough to come by recently. The paintings are extraordinary in her ability to tell the story of her childhood, to give us her visions, as well as interpretations of biblical stories that she grew up on. They are extraordinary. The exhibition is downstairs in the Thomas Center Gallery and upstairs in the Rosa Martin Gallery, as well as another exhibition of the paintings of Eddie Muma, who was another Gainesville artist who I'm sure you will enjoy as well. Thank you very much for what you do, for making art and keeping our community creative. Thank you, Stan, for doing this program, and I hope I've been short enough. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I am from the sound of hot grease and hot combs sizzling on the stove like hot coals, sitting between my mama's legs with my head pressed to the side so she could reach the edge of the nap that wouldn't be tamed, the curl that resisted the flame. And I know that my father is to blame because the afro on his head and mine are the same. Once hated, but now loved as proudly as his name. My, how quickly things can change. I am from the mean streets of New York City, a product of the Great Migration.
In times such as these, when ocean boils, when sky cries fire, when ground heaves with unnatural ecstasy, in this incredible era, when pandemic infects politics, when epidemic infests the wireless, when toilet paper's picture appears on milk cartons, We traverse among expectations, not realizing that the road will transform us completely while the world still continuously burns. Thus, the alchemy occurs, as common as sand.
This poem is for Black mothers that mourn their Black sons in the streets, killed by racists. This is a topic for white mothers to discuss who had to abort their Black fetuses because their white parents would not accept a Black or brown-skinned birthing baby.
No pleasure than icy hot. I stripped and dipped in that deep blue spot. I scorched my toes, but cooled my woes, and I sank deeper and deeper. The taste grew sweeter and sweeter. Then, like an escalator, I was walking and riding that elevator, G-forcing me up and gravitating me down, centrifugally cupped, centrifugally bound.
Struggling to recover from a trip from rock bottom, or grew up hard pressed, trying to beat the devil out of this sand, to stab you off starvation on this peninsula of paradise. This set is dedicated to you, my friends, and to my late great friend and ally in the fight to make life a more rewarding experience for all of us.
As a whole, Dr. Patricia Hilliard-Nunn, who would always come to ARTSPEAKS and share her beautiful voice with us. And this year, we also lost a beautiful member of our community, Mr. James Thompson, who I dedicated, we dedicated this particular event tonight in his memory. My last conversation with James was July 8th. It's a Thursday. Thursday night poetry jam was happening that evening at 8 o'clock. So James called me. We ended up talking for almost 2 hours about poetry and politics and community. When he called me, I had written a poem, a little short poem about reading and about how to encourage some kids, young people to read, because reading can be intimidating for some people, especially young people. So I like to write in poetry because it's got a lot of empty space and line breaks, and it doesn't look so intimidating to someone who's new to reading or may feel really intimidated by reading it. He had read the poem, saw it on Facebook, and it inspired him to write his own poem about reading, which he called me to make sure that I was going to be tuned in to Thursday night's poetry jam because he had a treat for me, and he wanted to read that, share that poem. It's called "Reading is a Freedom Machine," and so he did that poem, and it was beautiful. And he dedicated that poem to Miss Melissa Hawthorne, who is a teacher, and so he dedicated the poem to her. I think I met Melissa for the first time was in 2019 at this event, and I first saw her and James together, and I'm attracted to love, like a moth to flame, and I can you can look at them, you know, some folks you can look at and say, hey, they in love. You know, they're just glowing with it and stuff, so that's about that memory of her and James when I first saw them together at that 2019 ARTSPEAKS. So I contacted Melissa and asked her, would she come share her voice? And I asked her, would it be okay if we dedicated this particular ARTSPEAKS to James's memory? So with that, Melissa,
I like a man with paint on his jeans, hard-working hands soft on my seams, sweet smell of sweat where his neck meets his chest. A hard-working man gets my hard-working best. Once was a time I watched a young child cast a net into the ocean brine. He gathered up the weighted ends and scalloped into draping folds and held the center with his teeth. Then as a dance he twirled and leaped, his arm outstretched to set the net astride the air, to fall upon the water flat, sinking there to entrap what glittered and what shone beneath.
Thumbs arrived, holiday gift wrapped in bold colors of no expectation, with no cautionary instructions for grasping and manipulating the physical world. Testing sharpness, thumb flat along the blade. A blood-dripping dagger held in the fist of a hitchhiker.
And precarious perch, this harsh and rugged land marked by cactus and juniper, and we are forced into thought, knees held tight to the heart, looking out over broken holy lands. Time stills, drawing this moment into eternity. The sage-filled air embraces us with the spirit of wise and ancient.
I took shots and won shots, dallied with Mary Jane outside. Then he fucked me into silence, a penetration I chose to hide. Every day on the streets I hear shouts of predatorial platitudes. They whistle and holler, not men, but asses who bellow a dying cat's tune. Tarana Burke, Alyssa Milano, add my voice to the melee. No, I will not tolerate the perpetuation of this society's goddamn misogyny.
Now, I really don't know how to start this, but regardless, I'ma write what I feel. See, I don't know if it's right, what I feel. You've been heavy on my mind lately, and I get big, yeah to that. And I wonder if you asked your mom lately where I'm at, but at the same time, I'm hoping that I fade from your memory. It hurts for me to pray you won't remember me. Yeah, you only 3. I never thought you'd grow on me like you did. But yo, I must admit, I like you, kid. But I like you way too much for me to put you in position to be hurt. I see you now, you wishing that your mom's, and I will make it work to save your heart.
Conceal. Bury it deep. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow has to be better. It's all for it. But I'm losing myself. My past selves buried, now unearthing, rising from the grave, and so I dig. I dig to bury it deeper, to keep it down.
The neighbors ride down on a tiny motorcycle, not at all like Dad's. It's all cattywampus, I repeat. It's one of them rare days where we're all home, even Mom. She yanks hard on one string and the blinds go sideways. I can see them through the cracks, the stacking sets of limbs. What a bunch of dumbass rednecks, scaring the cattle and shit, Dad snaps. They burn black tire rubber in the grass, dead from that late April cold snap.
Complex reactions traversing my body, raising hairs high, taking up residence, burrowing deep into my tissues, a shameless squatter in my psyche, a parasite of my already scant peace, feeding, fattening, and
Dear anybody, is this the 11th plague? Our doors are closed. Closed signs and windows, doors, everywhere downtown the streets are empty. Empty restaurants, schools, churches, buses, parks, a ghost town with trees. Trees asleep in the sun, the red, white, blue flag waves below, a bare sky.
Georgia O'Keeffe was here, but it was really Imogen Cunningham, American 1883-1976. This flower that abundantly overflows the photo, shaded white to gray to black depth. Magnolia Blossom 1925, gelatin silver print on loan from a private collection. Anything seen from very close, an abstraction, non-contextual pattern, we are left with a subjective object to admire.
It will be my first time performing at ARTSPEAKS, but I've come several times before, both to the youth event and to this one. Well, I love poetry. I think it speaks to the soul in a very brief way, lots of impact in a little bit of space. So I love it as an art form, and I'm a poet. My boyfriend was a poet. We would write together all the time. My boyfriend actually died a few weeks ago, and poetry has helped me in the grieving process, and it brings people together in such a beautiful way. So
Thank you so much. And your thoughts on them, you know, commemorating him in this little program?
Very touching, very special.
I'm a librarian at the Larchmont County Library District, but I'm also a poet, and many people don't know that I write, but East Amherst is kind of new, and he invited me to participate in this event. It's a great, you know, opportunity to just share my poems with the community. Usually I'm always working, so I don't get to attend as much as I want to, but I love the program, and I think it's a great program. I love what Stan does for the community and how he reaches out to not only adults, but his presence in the, with the young adults in our community. I think it's a great opportunity for them, and it's I think an opportunity for him to mentor them too, and I think they can benefit so much from that as a person and as an artist, also as an artist. I'm going to read some poems that I wrote during the beginning of the pandemic. I think I haven't really shared them with anybody, but they're really short, so I chose my short ones, and I think maybe people can identify with them because I just, like everybody else, I was going through a difficult time, and I started writing about what I saw, what I was feeling during that time.
I've been writing poetry for a number of years now, and almost always over at the Civic Media Center. And it's wonderful that Stanley has started a program. There are 2 of them per year, one for younger people and one for everybody. And it's for poets. And I don't know a lot of places where poets get those opportunities. Okay. And I think it really helps the community. This is an educated community with a lot of creative people, which to me makes it fun to live in this area. Because I come from outside New York City and I'm used to, you know, things to do and just people doing so many different things. I've got a poem, and it's called Impressions of a Black and White Exhibit, photographic exhibit. I went to the Horn, and I tend not to follow the rules, so this poem is impressions of different black and white photographs that I saw here. It was pretty impressive too. I'm very proud of Gainesville and Stanley and everybody for putting this on. Thank you.
We are just really, I'm thrilled to be able to host it again this year. We didn't have an ARTSPEAKS last year in 2020 because of COVID. We had to cancel and didn't know how this year was gonna, what was gonna transpire, but put it out there, and the community just really embraced it and said, thank you, we need to get together. Thank you for putting this on this year. We need to come together, we need to share space. So, then the weather, we were gonna have it outside because people didn't really want to be inside this year, but it rained, and we were forced, people just came. And it turned out to be a beautiful, wonderful evening. And right now I'm listening to some poetry in the background, Miss Pamela Marshall, who did something just now, because I think this is National Suicide Prevention Month. I think that's what she said. She was just doing a poem about suicide prevention. So yeah, we had some powerful, really, really powerful voices. We always do, but it's been special. It's been special. This year we dedicated this particular ARTSPEAKS to our fellow poet who transitioned, I guess it was last month, August, I think it was August 31st, James Thompson, who would normally, he would have been here this year with us. So it was in his memory. This gathering is in his memory. We have a wonderful community of artists, powerful poets, so many, and it wouldn't be without the poets. It would just be me here talking to Russell and Carol, and you may show up. But it's just I just enjoy providing a platform for people to come share their voices and just empty themselves and pour out into the space, and everybody just embracing it, everybody's voice. So many different unique voices, which makes it so, which that's what ARTSPEAKS is all about, a celebration of poetry and all the different voices of poetry in the community. And I love our poetry community and all of our artists, whether it be visual artists. It's just such a vibrant and rich place to live and thrive. So, Lynn County, as your poet laureate, I love you and thank you so much for embracing your artists and supporting the arts. And a shout out to my wife, Carol Velasquez Richardson, who this wouldn't be possible without her. So thank you, Carol. Love you.